Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video. We're going to have a look at the weather for the next week to 10 days for today's second video. And that's going to take us to around the 6th of April. We'll be able to extend out beyond that with extended GFS and ensemble ensembles. They run to around a couple of weeks. So we'll have a look at CFS V2 at the end of the video for April. Talking of the CFS, January Friday has been released, so that's the month-end look at with the Japanese and CFS V2 models. So we look at the weather for next 4 weeks in that one. Have a look at January Friday, see what's going on there. Quite cold to start off with, but it does just a bit of a recovery temperature is possible later on into April. So have a look at January Friday, see what's going on there. This evening, we're going to have the ENSO update for March. So have this month's ENSO update coming up for you this evening, probably around 7 o'clock, something like that. And I'll talk you through what's happening over the weekend at the end of the video. Now, before I do anything else, I'm going to say a big thank you to our latest donors. So we've had a new donation for Gal Service. So hello and thank you very much to our latest donor, Jack Lowe. Jack Lowe has given us a donation at Gal's Weathervids. Big thank you to you, Jack, for doing that. So thanks so much for your donation, Jack. If you would like to give a donation to Gal's Weathervids, all you need to do is come to the Gal's Weathervids PayPal page, you sign into your PayPal account, and then give whatever donation you would like to Gal's Weathervids. We're going to give you a mention in the videos. We'll give you a shout out. We'll say thank you so much for your donation, as long as you want one. If you'd rather stay anonymous, then that's fine. We'll just thank you as an anonymous person. But otherwise, you'll get a mention. And we'll say thanks so much for doing that. There is also, of course, Patreon. So we've got 64 patrons. Hello and big thank you to our 64 patrons. If you would like to become a patron of Gal Service, all you need to do is come to the Gal Service Patreon page. You sign up for a Patreon account, assuming you don't already have one, and then you can give an ongoing monthly donation to Gal Service. It can be anything from $1 a month upwards. You pull in with all of the other patrons, and that is how you become a patron for Gal Service. So whether you do it through PayPal or whether you do it through Patreon, you're going to get a mention in videos. We'll say thank you so much for doing that. We are primarily ads funded at Gal Service and will be remaining so, but of course we're going through the coronavirus crisis, and it's primarily a health crisis, a medical crisis, but it is having a big impact on the economic front as well, and the advertisements are not generating anywhere near the revenue that they would normally do, so ad revenues have collapsed. And so these other revenue streams like Patreon and PayPal are very useful at the moment for helping to fund Gal's Weathervids until the ad rates hopefully start to pick up later on in the year when we get on the other side of this terrible crisis and virus. So a big thank you to all of our patrons, a big thank you to all of our donors, and a special thank you to Jack Lowe for your donation. Thank you so much, Jack, for doing that. Jack has also sent a few pictures through as well. So this one was taken I think about a week or so ago at Braunston in Northants. So nice sort of anvil cloud there over the fields in Braunston. And we've got a couple from Northumberland as well, looking rather bleak up there in Northumberland up in the north. So pretty grey leaden skies, but really nice pictures that Jack has taken. That one is really super beach up there in Northumberland, a beach shot in Northumberland. That one looks a bit brighter. It's a nice day somewhere in Northumberland, so nice little bit of sunshine overlooking the North Sea. So a big thank you to Jack for your donation and also for sending your pictures through. Thank you so much, Jack, for doing that and for helping to support Gal Service, and also for sharing your pictures. If you'd like to have your pictures featured, by the way, and you don't have to give a donation, have your pictures featured either. We just do it when we've got a little bit of time, a little bit of spare time in the videos. But if you would like to have your pictures featured, all you need to do is either email them to gazovers@gmail.com or share them with us on our social media pages. And that's it. We've got a little bit of time. We're always happy to feature those pictures in the video. So thank you so much, Jack, for your pictures. Thank you for your donation. Thank you to all of the donors and all of the patrons for Gaz Weather Vids. And as I say, we're going to keep going through this coronavirus crisis. We're going to keep uploading and recording. And as long as we're able to, we're going to keep the videos coming. So if we all stick together, we're going to get through this crisis. I'm quite certain about that. Better times are around the corner. But it's going to be pretty nasty for a few weeks, I think. But we will get through it. As I said, Gaz Webbers, we're going to keep the content coming. So yeah, we're going to keep your videos going. And big thank you to all of our patrons and donors, as I say, and a special thank you to Jack Blood. Right, let's get on with the video then. I'm going to start off looking at the upper air temperatures. So we're looking at London today, wet as April. The red line is a 30-year upper air temperature average for London. We're starting off relatively mild with the upper air temperature. We're still in this position in the south, anyway, of cold nights and warm, sunny days. Up in the north, it is starting to turn more generally colder now. And in the next 24 hours, we're going to have this cold snap coming along. We're going to turn the wind into the northeast, and we're going to drag some properly cold air in from the north and from the northeast over weekend and into start of next week, with temperatures at their lowest going down to around minus 10 Celsius at 850 HPA. Now, beyond that, we keep it pretty cold, actually, through the first week of April, but there are signs now as we go into the second week of April, at the end of the first week of April and into the second week of April, really, this period just here, that the upper air temperatures are starting to lift up. So we see things becoming milder in terms of the upper air temperatures as we go through into the second week of April. There are still some colder outlier members just here, but I think we can clearly see that the trend by the end of the first week of April and into the second week of next month is turning things milder. This is something we was picking up on in January, Friday as well, that the further on we progress into April, the milder it should start to become. Precipitation-wise, very dry over the next week to 10 days, barely any measurable precipitation, and maybe a few wintry showers, though, blowing in with these northeasterly winds over the weekend and into next week as well. Beyond that, though, it looks like it does go a bit more unsettled through the second week of April as the temperature lifts up, so too do the rainfall spikes, although that's very extended rain stuff, of course. So certainly in the reliable time frame, it's very dry, but quite cold. And we see this confirmed with a temperature anomaly. So this is the temperature anomaly for the 27th of March to the 4th of April. Below average, cold and average temperature anomalies coming up not just for the UK, but through most parts of Europe as well. Really quite a cold week ahead. Precipitation anomalies remain drier than average of the 27th of March to 4th of April. We have entered into a colder but also much drier scenario and overall pattern compared to what we've been in for several months. That's how the GFS is looking for Monday. So on Monday, we're still pulling in quite a cold north or northeast wind. High pressure is drifting out to the west of the country, and this high pressure then sort of sits down over top of the country to go through the middle of next week. That will cut off the northeasterly, so by day probably temperatures will recover a little bit, but by night probably quite cold and frosty. Into the second half of next week, we begin to move this high pressure up towards Greenland and start to pull down much colder air from the north. This is a real northerly Arctic blast that this latest GFS run is picking up on, starting in around a week's time. And look at that, in a proper old northerly there by the time you get through to Saturday, the 4th of April, a week tomorrow. Yes, we're putting down a really cold north to northeasterly. There's some sort of area of low pressure down here as well that's probably engaging with the cold air from the north. And hints of snow with that during the opening days of April. Definite chance of snow showers, not only in the north, but perhaps in other parts of the country as well. There's the upper air temperatures there, definitely cold, especially so in the northern half of the country. So winter's still not done with us yet. Moving up towards day 10, we keep things pretty cold. Winds generally in from the north. But as we go beyond day 10, we saw it on the GFS ensembles actually, as we go beyond day 10, we start to move high pressure into the south of the country, and then we start to infiltrate milder air around the top of the ridge from the Atlantic. So we've got to Wednesday, the 8th of April here. We're going into the second week of April, and it is turning significantly milder. That's Good Friday. By the way, Easter updates are going to begin very, very shortly. They'll begin over the weekend, I think, the Easter 2020 updates. Of course, this year, because of the coronavirus, all of the normal events forecasts that we do have been sort of cancelled along with those events. So we won't be doing forecasts for things like Glastonbury, unfortunately, this year, because the Glastonbury Festival has had to be cancelled due to this horrible virus. So we won't be able to do anything like that for this season, certainly not the early summer events. Is it possible that by August, I suppose, there might be a few events starting to appear? One of the later events that happens in the summer is the Leeds Reading Festival. That tends to be right at the end of August. So it's possible something like that could still be going ahead. We'll have to wait and see. But definitely all of those early summer events like Glastonbury that we normally forecast for, they're all off, and they're off till next year. But we will still do forecasts for Easter, although obviously with everybody having to stay indoors at the moment, or certainly isolate themselves, not going to be all that much happening over Easter. But I'm going to do forecasts for Easter, and when we get to it, we'll do forecasts for the late spring bank holiday weekend at the end of May as well. And I'm not sure what's happening about the early May bank holiday this year, because it was supposed to be, I think it's supposed to be a bank holiday for the 75th anniversary of the VE Day. But I assume those celebrations and commemorations are all being cancelled, so I don't know what's happening there for the early May bank holiday. But anyway, for the bank holidays, I will still do updates, but obviously all of the other events, they're all off for this year. So anyway, the upshot is Easter updates will begin over the weekend, probably the first one on Sunday, I would have thought. So let's get back to videos. So on Friday, the 10th of April, we're under an area of high pressure now. This is Good Friday, and nice weather for Good Friday on this GFS run, turning much drier and also warmer. And this high pressure bed develops further as we go through the Easter weekend. So we're up to Sunday the 12th of April now, Easter Sunday, and looking really, really good here. This will be a very, very nice Easter Sunday indeed. Mainly dry, sunny, and pretty warm. Temperatures probably into the mid to upper teens Celsius. So again, it goes along with what we've talked about in JMA Friday, but as April progresses, but further on in we go after a cold start, we may start to see a recovery in the temperature. But GM looks like that. So yes, we're in those cold north to northeasterly winds on Monday, with high pressure out to our northwest. As we move through into the middle of next week, that high pressure looks like it's going to have a go to get itself up towards Greenland. Will it pull down Arctic northerlies at the end of next week? Well, it's certainly having a really good go at doing it, but the high pressure just not going quite far enough north. And so actually most of the cold air with those northerly winds sinks down into Scandinavia. We're on the periphery of it, but it's a bit of an air mix that we get with those northerly winds with the GM at the end of next week. Eventually by day 10, the GM is turning as much more unsettled and milder, and it's re-establishing a west-southwesterly flow by the 6th of April, but no doubt bringing some outbreaks of rain with it too. Then the ECMWF looks like that, and we've got high pressure out to our west again on Monday at 1,050 millibars. That's a very, very intense area of high pressure, by the way. Winds again cold from the north or from the northeast into the middle of next week. That high pressure gradually drifting further away from us into the Atlantic. Looks like the ECM is going to have a really good go at pulling down northerly winds. Let's see what happens. Well, certainly by Friday the 3rd of April, a week away, we are having a very good go at pulling in an Arctic northerly blast, but we do still have this high pressure down towards Spain, low pressure through there. So it's having a really good go at pulling down Arctic northerlies, but the ECM doesn't quite pull it off either. And as we head up towards day 10, we actually turn more unsettled again. Low pressure breaking through from off the Atlantic by day 10, 6th of April. And we're in a milder west to southwesterly flow there as well. So we've got the GFS pulling down Arctic northerlies from days 8 to 10. the ECM and the GM have a good go at doing that, but don't quite pull it off, and instead they bring in more unsettled, but also milder west or southwesterly. So it all remains to be seen what happens as we get through to the second half of next week and beyond. These options are on the table within the ECM ensembles today for day 10, which gets us to the 6th of April. We have 13 members of the ECM ensembles, including the control and the operational run, that are re-establishing a west-southwesterly and more unsettled conditions at day 10. They're bringing the air in from off the Atlantic. We have 13 members of the ECM ensembles that have high pressure sitting over and just to the east of the country, so that's more settled, relatively mild, winds coming in from a southeasterly direction, but it's a more settled option. 11 with high pressure to the south and also low pressure to the north and bringing in this west southwesterly. We have 8 with low pressure right over top of the country, that's the most unsettled option probably, and 6 with low pressure to our east, a bit of ridging to our west. There's a bit of aim to the northerly with those. So, a lot of options on the table, actually, for day 10. Not many of them looking particularly northerly, though. So, within the ECM ensembles, I'm not sure that real Arctic blast that the GFS is pulling off between days 8 and 10. I'm not sure that's particularly well supported within the ECM ensembles. So that Arctic blast, second half of next week or in around a week's time within the GFS, that may be a bit of an outlier type scenario, actually. We shall see. I mean, in 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. This gets us to the 11th of April. We have 27 members of the ECM ensembles with low pressure sitting just to our east, and we're pulling in sort of a northwesterly flow. So quite unsettled and maybe a bit cool with that one. And then 24, so it's virtually a 50-50 split. 24 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure back in over Scandinavia. Winds are coming in from an east to southeasterly direction. Obviously that's quite a settled scenario, but it could be a little bit on the cold side depending on the exact origins of the air. By the time we get through to the middle of April, easters are going to be very hard to pull in genuinely cold air from the east. It has to be a real northeasterly once you're getting to like the middle of April. And if a wind is kind of, or if the origins of the air is kind of south of east, then actually it can get quite warm with a Scandinavian high, or certainly quite mild anyway, away from the east coast with a Scandinavian high by the middle of April. Then finally, the CFSV2 for April. So this is the 700 millibar height anomaly from the CFSV2 for April 2020. Today's update has a ridge of above average heights just to our west-southwest, below average heights to our north-northeast. Winds are sort of in from a northwesterly type direction. So it looks quite an average sort of signal for April, really. Temperature anomalies are coming in pretty close to normal, actually. So it's not as mild as it has been over previous months. And precipitation anomalies are also coming in quite close to average. I would have thought with a ridge sitting just to our southwest, just to our west-southwest, it would probably be a relatively dryish sort of month, probably away from northern Scotland anyway. But probably a little bit on the cool side also. But of course, that's not really worth worrying about. We'll worry about April when we actually get to it, which isn't going to be all that far away now. First day of April is going to be on Wednesday, of course. Right, that's it for video number 2 for today. We're going to be back later on with your ENSO update for March. So we'll bring an update of everything that's going on in the equatorial Pacific Ocean in terms of El Nino, La Nina, and everything like that. Coming up this weekend, we're going to have weekend forecast and also week Sunday video update tomorrow on Sunday. Bit of a change actually from the scheduled updates this weekend. Sunday, instead of an analogues update for the summer, we're going to do the first season model roundup for summer 2020. That will be the first video at 10 AM on Sunday. I've just got a bit behind this week getting the analogues together, so we're going to have a season model roundup on Sunday instead of summer analogues, but it will still be a summer update. Downswell is sunny roundup coming up on Sunday as well, of course, and we will be doing the first Easter update at some point over the weekend. It'll either be tomorrow or probably more likely on Sunday, I would have thought, but there will be an Easter update. The first Easter update will be coming up over the weekend. I'm hoping to do a few more live streams in the next few weeks as well. So we've not done many live streams lately, but I'm going to have to take the Discuss comment platform off gazworthies.com next week during this crisis, because we have to pay for that. We're not really earning the kind of revenue from the ads to be able to continue to pay for that. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to take the Discuss comment box away from Gazworthies for a while. I may well be able to bring it back later on in the year, but for now, that's got to be took off the website. So to keep in touch with everybody, I may start doing a little bit more live stream, maybe a couple of live streams in the afternoons, perhaps a couple of times a week, something like that. I'll see, but let me know in the comments if you would like to see a few live streams. I know it won't replace the comment box having to be removed from gazworthies.com, but it's perhaps the next best thing to be able to stay in touch with everybody. So let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a little bit more live stream. I know it's not a particularly interesting time of the year weather-wise at the moment. We're in a relatively quiet period weather-wise in spring, as we always are, but just a way of being able to keep in touch and you know, check in with everybody. So if you'd like to see a little bit more live stream, maybe a couple of live streams, a couple through the afternoon, an hour or so on a couple of afternoons through the week, then do let me know in the comments if you would like like that, and that of course on the YouTube channel. Right, that's it then. So that's brought you up to date with the week. Tony the update. We're back later on with the ENSO update. So come back for that this evening, and we've got loads of updates over the weekend as well. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.